this is Danielle Hogan, and I am your homeschooling mother of 7, and I'm here, and it is summer, and I want to talk about reading. If you have ever said, I just don't have time to read, then this video is for you. It's right up your alley. At the end of this video, I would love for you to feel so inspired to cultivate the love of reading that you start right away. Unless, of course, you want to binge watch some of my other content before you start, and that's okay too. But you might end up in sourdough land and become inspired to start that. So be careful. We have all heard the various phrases, leaders are readers, one of my personal favorites. Reading cultivates a better vocabulary, deepens your knowledge of topics, and dozens of reasons that reading is so good. And they're all true. But perhaps my very, very favorite reason is because reading widens you. I mean, not physically, unless you're eating ice cream while you're reading or every time you're eating. That would be alarming. It creates depth of thinking, depth of creativity, depth of worldview, depth of knowledge. It gives you insight into the way that other people think and the way that other people process their emotions. Any of you who have been married for longer than 5 minutes, you recognize that you think differently than your husband. And you might have suspected it before you got married, but year after year after year goes by and you recognize that sometimes you're not getting it. You're not making that connection. And you have to expand. You have to look at life through someone else's perspective. And it broadens you. It causes you to think less selfishly. So where reading is broadening and widening and enlarging, the things we do with our devices, the scrolling, the social media, it's very narrowing. It's very confining to our thinking. I think there's a temptation to just get small and to view people in a small way without the context of life and experience and personality and depth. And that's why it's so easy for people to be harsh and mean online where we don't even know each other. And I think that that's really sad. It's the story that you follow that goes through years. It's the books that help expand your soul and teach you that life isn't so narrow the way we kind of see it sometimes online, where we either feel inferior or we feel superior when we see people's perfect lives or the lives that they perhaps do less perfectly than us. And then even though you're skeptical of the things that are online, you actually consume it with so much trust and you repeat it and you allow the drama of it. You also allow the hurt of it. It's a very weird place. But that's what books do for us. I think that they give us context. You can read a character, you can read about a life, and you have experience and personality, you have relationships, you have their thoughts, the inner working of an individual, and kind of the process of growth. So if you tell me you do not have time to read, I will give you what is called in literature a withering look. So after the withering look, I will just say that if you spend more than 15 minutes on your phone scrolling, you have time to read. Don't get me wrong, I am not judging the scrolling. I do it. And sometimes it is the best use of 15 minutes of my time because I get a few laughs, maybe a few ideas for dinner or exercise or homeschooling or whatnot. But the bottom line is it's very easy to scroll and an hour goes by. And it's less easy to spend an hour reading. We really want the fun parts of life to be easy because, well, they're fun. But it's actually all the fun parts of life, the relationships, the vacations, the accomplishing a task, the learning something new, that requires a lot of discipline to get to the point of enjoyability. All of the fun parts of life still take discipline in the seasons where you do not feel like doing. And I hate to break it to you, but discipline often comes before inspiration. People who write great books have moments of manic diligence and just oppressive inspiration where they can seem to do nothing else but write what they have been inspired to write. But I would guess that 99 out of 100 books have been written out of the discipline of plodding. You know, plodding, the one foot in front of the other, plodding along, never stopping till the task is completed, plodding. They have to keep writing when the inspiration has waned. And we as human beings have to keep plodding when the inspiration for doing something we find valuable has waned, like reading. So hopefully I've given you enough of a reason to start reading, start cultivating the love of reading? Now let's just talk about how. First, you need to decide that this is important. Reading is important. Choose your reason. Whether it be intellect or emotion or worldview or escape, or being a good example for your kids, learning something new, having different things to converse about. Next, decide how many books do you want to read in a year.
Maybe it's 1, maybe it's 4, maybe it's 12, one a month. My personal goal this year is
50. Now, that did not used to be so hard for me before I had so many kids. So the way I do this, and you can kind of see how you want to do it, is I choose 4 books a month and I start them all. I don't just do 1 book a week and read it to completion. And that's because my life is a little bit everywhere. And sometimes it's really noisy, and sometimes I am sitting with my kids and we're all reading our own individual books, but I'm interrupted a lot, so I can't read anything too deep. You know, I'm not going to be reading philosophy at that time, but an enjoyable and engaging novel I can sit there and read with my kids because I can afford to miss chunks. So this way I have a book for every emotional or intellectual climate in my day. This is the only way I can actually see to get 4 books done in a month. I have a book that's on a tablet that is for when I'm on the treadmill, if I'm only walking or even jogging, because you can make those words nice and big. Right before bed, I like to read a book that is of a more calming nature. I recommend having a bathroom book because, well, as a mom, bathrooms have locks. It's one of the only places that sometimes you can get away with spending a few extra minutes. If you want to get 1 book a month done, you need to read about 15 to 20 minutes a day. A little longer if you're a slower reader, but you can gauge that. Other things I do, I always have a book I'm reading out loud to my kids, and these aren't like Frog and Toad. These are books that I actually am enjoying reading as well. My husband, who really never read a book in high school, started just to love the stories that he would share with his kids when he was reading out loud to them. So size matters here. If you are planning on reading about a 300-page book, 15 or 20 minutes a day, and you'll get it done in a month. That's 12 books a year, only 15 or 20 minutes every single day. It's gonna take you saying, okay, I start today, 15 minutes, and these are the books that I'm going to start with, or this is the book I'm gonna start with. I get this many books done in a year in increments of 15 minutes to a half an hour throughout the day. And I get interrupted and I have to stick that bookmark back in and set it aside, and it's okay. And sometimes I have to reread pages. Start right away compiling a book list of books you would like to read. And get yourself a book stack. I love my book stacks. Not just in a tablet, but actual physical paper books. They give me a sense of inspiration. I know some people laugh, but this is my side of the bed. I can get these book stacks so high that they actually fall over in the middle of the night accidentally when I reach for my water. So, that is jarring. Come here for a minute. I'm going to give you 5 great books to start with your children. If you want to start a love of reading in yourself, do it with your kids. If your kids are, 7 or older, they could probably sit through these books if you do it in increments of 15 or 30 minutes a day. I've read all these books with my kids and they have been outstanding adventures. I always end up crying. I don't know how it happens, but I get made fun of a lot. The other day when we finished a book, my daughter, she's 4 now, she said, "Good job, Mom. You didn't cry this time." All right, Treasure Island. If you have boys, this is a great one. Love this book. We've read it twice. Heidi, we just did that this year. Loved it. It was such a beautiful story. A Little Princess, that's a real tearjerker. Just a beautiful story of character and overcoming hard things. Old Yeller, this is classic for boys and girls alike. If you've seen the movie, it's a sad one, but it's a really wonderful book. And A Wrinkle in Time, just a fun and classic adventure. And when you complete that book with your kids, you write it down and you put the date so that at the end of the year, I'm going to be able to say, well, I either almost made my goal or I didn't quite make my goal, or I really failed in my goal this year, or I surpassed my goal. One of those I'm going to be able to say. At least I'll know. And then I'll be able to do even better next year. Now, I have to ask you to do something for me in the comments. Would you please write your favorite books? Just 1 or 3 or 5. I'm always looking for books that other people have loved, and I want to know, what have you loved? What has expanded you, helped you, just given you like 8 hours of joy and pleasure? Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time. Remember, no one can mom your kids like you. Happy summer reading. Okay, happy summer reading.